أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. بعد inshallah we'll continue with Surah Al-An'am, exploring the Trigonals. This it is not simply a matter of understanding, but a matter of embodying the principles it expounds. Which principles are themselves reflections of God and His attributes, because existence came out of those His names and His attributes, and therefore it helps us a lot to understand what is going on within ourselves or around us when we have an understanding of how those attributes and names function. So since they broadly categorize them between names of essence and of attributes, call them Asma Dhat and Asma Sifat. So this is in terms of understanding the all-encompassing, merciful. So in other words, there are two ways. By knowing God, it helps. We get to know the creation, and by knowing the creation also, we can get to know the Creator, because the creation reflects the attributes and the actions of the Creator, and those vice versa. So the trigonal paradigm is very helpful. It puts this whole thing, which is people try to grasp it in many ways, but it's so vast and it's hard to do so. But it helps you nicely package it simply, because so that everybody can understand. People who are of average intelligence and people who are, but it's so simple. That's why usually the teachings of the prophets are very simple, because they are able to address people at all their levels. And that's what sets apart religion from philosophy, is that philosophy addresses only one particular category of human beings, usually intellectual. People are advanced in terms of thinking. But religion is one that speaks to all of them. The ones that are the weakest to the ones that are the strongest. So everyone is addressed. Everyone can take something out of it. So simplicity is a very key factor. And the more simple principles we can find, the better, so that it benefits everybody and nobody is excluded. So the trigonal is puts it very simple for you. Usually if you want to study what we call Tawheed or theology, it can get very complicated, and the books that are dedicated to that in Islamic literature and other literature are even more complicated. The Tawheed in Christianity is more philosophical than religious. It's very complicated. So it gets complicated because it's an intellectual approach to understanding the nature of God, which is not the way the prophets themselves they teach. They're simple people. So the trigonal puts that this complex method and theory in a very simple way. So that theory or method, as I said, that expounds both the nature of the creator and the nature of the creation, because one reflects the other, as we said. So while the names and attributes and the essence of God, the Creator, does not themselves don't change, are not subject to what created things are subject to, which is change and growth and evolution. They are pre-eternal, that's what they call azaliyah. Yet, they are the one that produce the creation, which is finite, which is not pre-eternal. So that is even they produce without themselves being undergoing any kind of change. So that's a very important aspect of Tawheed that you have to keep in mind. That the nature of, so that's one of the what raised some of the questions about the fitna about the Quran is created or not, that we know in the history of Islam, and how we are forcing people to accept that idea. No, yeah, they forget that that while the attributes and the names of God are the one that gave rise to and everything that is created, but those principles themselves don't change. They stay as they are, pre-eternal and everlasting. So it is the lack of understanding that what is pre-eternal can give rise to something that is finite and limited. So in terms of creation, so everything there is essence,
Everything has an essence and also has attributes, a reflection of the essence of God and its attributes. At the level of the creation as well, just as the level of the creator, and the essence is the aspect that is always constant. It does not change, it does not increase or decrease, it does not go and come. It's the immovable aspect of the being. And then you have the attributes that kind of spell out the becoming meaning the evolution, so what evolves. So the first little bit we touched about on it yesterday in the class, but so every created entity must have these two aspects. So every created entity has these two aspects. They have the Zat, which is called the being or the essence, which is constant and itself non-changing. And then we have the attributes that mutates it changes, it evolves, it grows, and also decays, rises, and also falls, meaning that it is open to all types of, whenever we say change, it can be any kind of fluctuation, can be going up or going down, decaying or renewing. So all this in constant phases of a being, that's what we call the attributes. As I said, itself is a reflection. This is the creation, it's a reflection of the Creator, because God is an essence. He also has attributes. So essence correspond to essence, and attribute to attribute. So the concept of Vikar and shukur, which is one of the two most important concepts in terms of worship and devotion or knowing God, goes back to these two segments. So dhikr is the aspect of worship, we call the remembrance, that helps us if we fall off our what we call our natural disposition, which is fitra, which means that being exactly in this the being in its wholesome state. That's what we call fitra. If you fall off that wholesome state, then dhikr helps you return back. Yesterday we discussed it under the heading of unification of the soul. Was the same thing, because the unified soul is what was created first. It was at the beginning, so that's the fitra. So the fragmentation is the problem. That is the losing that wholesome disposition, fitra, and so dhikr helps you, on one hand, to bring you back if you lose it, on the other hand, if you have not, to help you maintain, stay there. Because forgetfulness naturally will slowly start to drift away from that primordial wholesome state in which God first disposed you. So shukur is, on the other hand, is the actions that you do that brings growth and increase in you, inwardly, outwardly. So is the factor that helps you to evolve, to grow. Because while you don't grow in essence does not grow, increase or decrease, but you need to grow in terms of attributes like knowledge, like wisdom. These are attributes that you need to. So the more you gain that, the more you grow, you evolve. So both of these aspects have to be kept in a good balance. Sometimes the vision of growth kind of rushes us. We tend to forget about the essence, because it's a non-growth. A human being loves words like growth and evolution, increase. So sometimes that makes them sort of have an oversight the importance of staying in your fitra, and don't lose that, because hankering after more and more growth. So there is cyclical. Each time when you are fully in your disposition, then it's cyclical. You go forward. So you move forward in terms of growth, and then you return back in terms of fitrah. So it becomes a cycle. That's the best scenario. Instead of just being growth and not coming back. So that is actually what the problem. That's what happened eventually. That's what causes the fragmentation. So for most human beings, is that the pursuit of growth sort of make them forget the importance of returning back to the essential state. And then that's what actually causes fragmentation. And they forget now how to go back. And then because keeps growing. But the growth that is not based on a proper foundation, because the foundation already is fragmented, which is your own. So your growth is pointless because it's going to collapse for sure. So it's always important that you have this going back and then going forward and then going back and then going forward. And this way your growth is very well weighed and balanced. So God says that فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونِي. Remember me, I remember you. So that's what I did. Remember me, I remember you. And God remembers you, then you return back to your fitrah, you go back to your essence. Because remember me as an essence, I remember you, and you turn back to your essence. Then soon followed by washkuruli, and then offer gratitude, which is shukur, which is the factor of increase and growth. So remember me, I remember you. Be grateful and don't be ungrateful. So that allows you to have a proper rotation between dhikr and shukur. But of course, in all, if anything, it would rather be that you don't grow, but you maintain your fitrah. If it has to come to that. Because that is the most important thing. And growth is something, but not at the price of losing your wholesome natural self. So you can see the preeminence of dhikr in terms of all our worship. Yeah. It says in verse 61 of Surah Al-Furqan, تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها سراجا وقمرا منيرا. Then verse 62, وهو الذي جعل الليل والنهار خلفة لمن أراد أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا. Blessed is he who has appointed constellations in the sky, in the firmament, and placed a burning lamp, which is the sun, and a bright moon. Then it is he who has appointed the day and the night to alternate for anyone who wants to be in remembrance or you want to be in gratitude. لمن أراد أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا. So alternately, خلفة, so they alternate. The way the day and the night alternate, the same way, dhikr and shukur, so alternate. One goes, and one comes, and one goes, and one comes. So that is a very important balance that we must maintain. Unfortunately, most people don't keep that balance. And that eventually connects you. So let's say these are two windows that opens into two different realms. Two windows. So we say shukur here. We have dhikr here. So this window opens onto what we call the first creation. So as long as you maintain dhikr and keep the unification of your soul, your natural fitrah, your essence is all the same thing, intact, then it keeps you connected to the inner kingdom, what we call the first creation. Al-Khalqu al-Awwal. So you have vision of the first creation. If you lose this, then you lose touch with this. You forget this. And this is the creation before the 6 days of creation. Whatever was created before that, when the throne was on water, before the creation of the heavens and the earth. That's what we call first creation. So our souls were created in that first creation as one unified soul. So one essence at that time. So maintaining dhikr and maintaining your fitrah allows you to stay open to this first creation. So this window opens what we call the new creation. So you can see the new creation, or they call it the second creation. So you can also see that if you don't maintain shukur, then you lose also the vision of the new creations, second creation. So you have the whole existence is divided into these two parts, the new creation and the first creation. Al-Khalq al-Awwal, they call Al-Khalq al-Jadid, or Al-Khalq al-Thani, or the old, the new, or the first, or the second. The first and second. So sometimes to also simplify, we call it all the same, just same thing being presented in many, so that everybody can have an angle. Well, pre-spirit, same thing, and post-spirit. Pre-spirit, before spirit, in terms of the human being. So everything in you that was created before your contact with the spirit. That's what we call the first creation. The spirit is what brings change. When the spirit is blown, then it begins to evolve and change. So after that, you still need to maintain contact with post-spirit, pre-spirit, all the time. But most people don't. They just stay on this one side, and they kind of slowly drift away, even forget completely about the first creation, what they were before the spirit, what they were before the creation of the 6 days. So they completely forget what they were before on the day of Alastu Barabbikum, Amen, Lord. So all of this is part of the first creation. So Vikar slowly will bring you, will start to open up this window for you. You begin to see visions of the beginning. So generally, as part of your riyad al-ruhiyya, spiritual exercise, is slowly to help you. If you have lost, as definitely most likely is the case for a beginner, so that you have lost contact, have lost your pre-spirit phase, self-awareness. So that's the focus has to be on Vikar as usual, and that is so that you can slowly begin to remember the beginning, to remember the first time. And as that goes on, slowly your soul gets together, becomes unified, until that unification becomes complete, and then you have a full consciousness about the first creation and the beginning. Once that process is completed, then it is okay to start to engage in actions and deeds that helps you to grow. Otherwise, doing deeds of growth without that sort of is really counterproductive. Because the first contact between spirit and the soul is when the soul was in its most wholesome state. At their first contact. Well, that's not the last one, it's just the beginning. They separate and they come together, they separate and they come together. But once the soul gets fragmented, then the spirit doesn't have a full contact anymore with the sun, with the soul. So. And then that makes it that whatever you do is unwholesome, is broken. Your prayer or your fast, whatever you do is broken because your soul is broken. That's go in Surah 2 Hud. Verse 7 وهو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام وكان عرشه على الماء ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا ولئن قلت إنكم مبعوثون من بعد الموت ليقولن الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا سحر مبين. It is you who created the heavens and the earth in 6 periods, and his throne was on water. That's the one water from which everything was created at first. ليبلوكم, to try you. أيكم أحسن عملا, which one of you will excel, will be most excellent indeed. So that is the first, when the throne was underwater was the first creation, and then the 6 days of creation after. So there is 2 phases. When the throne was underwater, and he created the creation first time, الخلق الأول, and then the second creation, which is the creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in it, in the 6 days, what we call the 6 periods, and then a second establishment on the throne. So there are two times, before and after. So, but because our awareness very often, as we grow slowly in this world, we completely begin to forget that first creation. We do until while we are still in the womb, we still remember. But when we are born and then start to grow, and this new creation, this world around us, begins to dominate our awareness to the point that we forget the first creation we had gone through, which is a much more bigger creation, much more larger. That's when we were completely created whole. And this second creation is a creation of differentiation, naturally. Things have been differentiated. Everything is calculated and measured, as opposed to the first creation, where there's no measurement or calculation. Everything is by qudra. So it's completely So the list is that if you haven't develop a full awareness of the first creation is to believe in it. So that's what we want to believe in the unseen. It's in the unseen for most of us. So that becomes the least requirement for you to be able to transition back into the first creation once you leave this, once you die. But if you have not, if you have not witnessed it and you have not just believed in it, which is the least requirement, then you are not able to go back to the first creation when you die. The soul remains fragmented and imprisoned within this world. It cannot transcend. In Surah Qaf, verse 15. This chapter, of course, begins by talking about Qaf al-Quran al-Majid, and those who disbelieve in the resurrection and life in the hereafter after this, and the construction of the heavens and the earth. So you can go through all of that. Then he says, أَفَيْنَا بِالْخَلْقِ الْأَوَّلِ بَلْ هُمْ فِي لَبْسٍ مِّنْ خَلْقٍ جَدِيدٍ. أَفَعَيْنَا بِالْخَلْقِ الْأَوَّلِ, were we unable, incapable of the first creation? Were we tired of first creation, that they are in doubt about the new creation? فِي الْخَلْقِ الْأَوَّلِ بَلْ هُمْ فِي لَبْسٍ مِّنْ خَلْقٍ جَدِيدٍ. In Surah 2, so that is first creation, new creation. Surah Al-Ankabut, the spider. Verse 19 and 20, فعنكبوت أولم يروا كيف يبدئ الله الخلق ثم يعيده إن ذلك على الله يسير. Have they not seen how Allah begins the creation and repeats it? That is easy for Allah. say, travel in the earth and see how creation began. سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف بدأ الخلق. Explore the earth. It'll show the traces of the blueprint of the creation. How creation started. The clues are all there. We just have to travel around and find them. سيروا في الأرض فانظروا. But you have to have another. You have to have that ability to look and see, which is, of course, one of something that comes much later after Vikar and shukur, after Vikar and Fikr. So, قل سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف بدأ الخلق. Travel in the earth and see how creation started. Because once you reach that point, see how the beginning was, that's what gives you certainty, yaqeen. Seeing the beginning gives you certainty. With certainty that you're going to meet your Lord, your Creator. Seeing the start, the first time. And Surah to Al-Isra. Sometimes called Surah Bani Israel, is the same chapter. Verse 51. Maybe 49 kind of starts the theme. وقالوا أإذا كنا إذا موروثاتا أإنا لمبعوثون خلقا جديدا. They said, if we have turned into bones and become dust? Are we going to be raised a new creation? A new creation. خلقا جديدا. Allah said, قُلْ كُونُوا حِجَارَةً أَوْ حَدِيدًا. Tell them, become rocks or iron or metal. أو خلقا مما يكبر في صدوركم. Or any other type of creation that's bigger to you. And they'll say, who will bring us back? Who will repeat, من يعيدنا? This, of course, naturally, you will only have these kind of questions about being recreated, being resurrected, because if you have no memory of the first creation, naturally, as far as you know, it's just this new creation you're living through. So that leads you to doubt that there's no, you'll be recreated. So God said, they say, who will bring us, recreate us? من يعيدنا قل الذي فطركم أول مرة. Tell them, the one who created you first time. First time. فطركم, the word فطرة. فطركم أول مرة. أول مرة. So first time. So this concept of first time is a very important concept. The first time. Don't forget the first time, which is the first creation as well. And in Surah Al-Zumar as well, not Zumar, Surah Al-Fussilat. Verse 21. وقالوا لجلودهم لما شهدتم علينا قالوا أنطقنا الله الذي أنطق كل شيء وهو خلقكم أول مرة وإليه ترجعون. And they say to their body, their hearing, sight, your skin, that witness against them. Why did you witness against us? They said, we have been made to speak by the one whom has made everything to speak. And he created you first time. وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. And back unto him you're going to return. This is this is the problem with forgetting. If you don't practice Vikar, then you will forget. Your consciousness will not extend beyond this wall of 6 days. And you'll forget your own beginning, your own origins. And your consciousness, your awareness is limited. So and that limitation in awareness have, of course, lots of consequences in your life. Of course, brings you all these symptoms of restlessness and anxiety and so forth, because your soul is shut up in this limited universe. Those who are able to have that window open and under the first creation, which is a dimension that is unending. So the soul feels free and breathes. So kind of things around you don't bother you so much, because you have a breathing space that's beyond this, what is around you. It allows you to extend yourself. But if you don't have that outlet, you don't have that reach, then of course that will impact your life in a very limited way. And of course, everything, all types of tribulation comes along with that limitation that's imposed on the soul. Soul is not able to be free and explore something that is infinitely greater and bigger than the limited physical world that we know. So that's why we see that reflected in the behavior of human beings. People with that opening, that reach into a much greater dimension of existence, which is the first creation dimension. That ability to reach into that frees you from the need to have to expand materially. Just a small room is good for you. You don't need a mansion. Yes. Because we keep expanding ourselves materially because we want the room, but the room that you really want is not. It's not a physical room that you really want. You want to be able, your soul to have a room. If your soul is having room, you don't need much space. You just need a little bit of space. They used to live in very small houses. And in the time of the Prophet, but people are, extremely happy. And their souls are free, are not bound. So the kind of that's the very reverse of that, because we feel this constriction within our hearts, our souls, and we respond, of course, wrongfully. We think that in order to remedy that situation, we need to expand materially. But that definitely does not resolve the problem. It's an internal problems and not resolved that way. To some of Sayyidina Isa, I don't think had even his own house. He didn't have a house in his life. He sleeps anywhere. Night finds, yeah, but it's not. Once you are connected to the first creation, you have that window open, and it reflects in everything that you do, your word, your actions, the way you work, the way you do things. It's all impacted. It's all, as opposed to one who is very limited in terms of awareness and the way they conduct themselves. It's a world of difference. Keeping in the fact that their way of the way they conduct themselves is not a conscious thing. They don't make an effort to act that way or this way. It's something that is spontaneous because of the state of their heart and their soul. What time is it? Oh, okay. Now, inshallah, this is, I think, if human being does want to put their effort in anything that is worthwhile, I think there should be putting your efforts into dhikr, and in such a way that, inshallah, if Allah give you tawfiq, you attain unification of your soul, your fitrah becomes wholesome. I think if that happens, you truly will find happiness. Your life will not become a burden on you anymore. Become rather a matter of joy and enjoyment. So that seems to be one solution for all problems, instead of trying to find individual solutions for individual problems, and that is itself another problem. Because you fix one thing, then one thing goes off. You fix another, then one thing goes off. But this solves all your problems. If your soul is unified, all your problems is solved. That's it. There's one solution for everything else. So all human beings' troubles stems from this one fundamental problem, which is the fragmentation of the self, the alienation from your fitrah. Suffice that once you are back in your fitrah, your soul is unified, that your thoughts become completely, by natural, without you making an effort to do that, your thoughts all becomes positive. You begin to think positively all the time. Negative thoughts don't cross your mind at all. If they do, they don't last. That's one of the best things, and that's most of our or feelings and so forth are affected by these thoughts, by these intuitions that cross our mind here and there. So that is the first thing, the first big change, revolution that it makes happen in your life. It's a complete changing of your thinking. And if your thinking, your intuitions are all become positive, then it follows that everything that happens in your life becomes positive. Because what happens in your life follows the course of your thinking. If your thinking is positive, you will see positive. Everything that, when he says that, قُلْ كُلُّ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, say it is all from Allah, and that is the way you should look at it. Nothing but good can come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing but good. It's impossible that something else comes. That depends on your perception. If your perception is like that, that's what you're going to see. If your thoughts are negative, then what happens also will follow your thinking. But this is one of the first fruits of the going back to your fitrah and being unified as one self, one essence. In Surah to think Nahl. So there are two verses which gives a contrast about two groups of people and the way they think. They think about everything that happens, because I think the word inzal is not about what God makes manifest in this world. That's the general interpretation of the word inzal, or revelation, what God makes happen in the universe, and how we respond to it. So in the one group, which is the group that thinks their first thought is always negative. And that's what the philosophy of Descartes teaches us, the French philosopher, that you have to doubt everything. Start with doubting, and then maybe after doubt you can believe, or something like that. That's what they call the Cartesian philosophy. The only thing that you cannot doubt, that's, according to him, is yourself. Je suis, je pense, donc je suis. I think, therefore I am. That's the only thing you are sure about, but nothing else. So the point of departure is yourself, the self, your ego. So it's a very individualized perception of reality. So God says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ, verse 24, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ مَاذَا أَنزَلَ رَبُّكُمْ قَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. When they are told, what has your Lord revealed? And reveal here means anything that God has made happen. Whatever happens every day is revealed. What has your Lord revealed? They said the tales of the ancients. So the first thing is this is a worthless word, empty stories. Has no value, has no meaning. So that's their first response. Asatirul awwaleen. This is nothing but the tales of the ancient nations. On the other hand, those who think well first, so you can see that this is, as I said, this is the foundation of everything. If you have this problem, keep making istighfar, ask Allah to change it for you. Because that is a sign that you're surely going towards the fire. If you're thinking that way all the time. Even if you are praying and fasting, that doesn't matter. It's what your heart does that matters. I think there's probably the hadith about you see the man who does the deeds of the people of Jannah, the famous hadith in Muslim, وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَيَعْمَلْ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ حتى ما يكون بينه وبينها إلا ذراع فيسبق عليه الكتاب فيعمل بأمل أهل النار فيدخلها. You see a person who all his actions are the actions of people of paradise, until when he is an arm's length away from the door of paradise, he begins to act the actions of the people of fire, and he enters the fire. Just last minute. And vice versa. You see a person who is acting the acts of people of hellfire, until he is an arm's length away, he begins to drift and does the actions of the people of paradise, and he enters paradise. And this is because the actions we see, we don't see the way their heart is working. If your heart is completely negative, that's hellfire. That's the attribute of fire. It's negativity. You always think ill first. And what you do first matters. Because also, even people who think well, sometimes they will never think ill, but that's not their first impulse. Their first stimulus is positive, even if negativity comes out. But what counts is the first thing. What do you do first? But this is something that you can through Vikar and so forth, you can change this. If you have that problem, you can change it, and it gets better and better. وقيل للذين اتقوا ماذا أنزل ربكم قالوا خيرا, which is verse 30. And those who revere their Lord, whose heart have reverence in it, have positiveness in it. When they are told, what did your Lord reveal? What did your Lord manifest? They say, khair, good. And they don't know yet what God revealed. Either side. They don't know exactly what, but whatever it is, it's good. We'll figure it out later. Yeah. Whatever it is. خير. قالوا خيرا. If you see that this trait in a person, it's a very good sign. Now, let's assume that that person at that point was not a believer, or is not, doesn't belong to, doesn't pray and things. But if you see that sign, there's a hope that, inshallah, he will drift towards, inshallah, paradise at some point. Because this is the essential requirement. Is that positiveness. To see khair in everything. قالوا خيرا. So I think that ayah sort of explains, or is explained by the hadith about أنا عند ظن عبدي بي فليظن بي ما يشاء. That I am what my servant makes of me. I mean that whether they think well of me or they think ill of me, that's whatever you think of me. That's how you're going to find me. And I will reward you accordingly. It's the love, to have love for good, to see good happen. That's all it takes. People who love to see only good happen. Everywhere, everyone. Yeah. These are the good people on the earth. Inshallah, we'll end with this. This is the story of, again, verse 45 and 46. ولقد أرسلنا إلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا أن يعبدوا الله فإذا هم فريقان يختصمون قال يا قوم لم تستعجلون بالسيئة قبل الحسنة لولا تستغفرون الله لعلكم ترحمون. What is so hard about thinking good? But so Sayyidina Salih, he said, we sent Salih to his people, and he told them worship Allah, and they are divided into two groups, and they are quarreling. And he said, oh my people, why is it that you hasten to good, well, evil before good? Why? I brought something to you. The least is that if you don't know what it is, at least think well of it and find out later. But don't reject it right away and say that it is nothing, it is worthless, it is this or it is bad. Huh? You don't know. The least is that if you don't know about something, don't say it is true, but keep a positive attitude towards it until you find out it is wrong or right. This is a method that is universal. It's applicable everywhere. Remain neutral. Neutral means remain positive until proven otherwise. The famous legal term, everything is innocent unless proven guilty. And that's An-Naml. That's 45, 46. And a similar verse we have in Ar-Ra'd, وَيَسْتَعْجِلُونَكَ بِالسَّيِّئَةِ قَبْلَ الْحَسَنَةِ وَقَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمُ الْمَثُلَاتِ. Their prophets are calling them, come to God, He's going to forgive you. What's wrong about somebody who says that to you? It's not saying anything. Why do you have to persecute such a person? Or it's not saying anything that is wrong, that's harmful to anyone. Astaghfiru rabbakum. Ask your Lord to forgive you. Come seek forgiveness from your Lord. So verse 6 of Ra'd, the same thing. They ask you to bring what is bad before what is good. So and inshallah, we will end with that for today. Inshallah, I'll continue. Mm-hmm.
More than the beginning. Is that also unification?
I didn't see I had the question well. If you see?
Signs of end of times in dreams and things like that. Is that also helps your soul unify?
Yeah, so unification sometimes takes place during sleep time. Yeah, for those who may not be able to have it in the waking state, but people whose soul is in a very good state, they do have unification when they sleep. Yeah, so they have visions that are very accurate, and yeah, because of that. Yeah, yeah. Have any questions online? Inshallah, we'll continue next time.